Okay. Okay, I'm gonna try something different. Some thoughts going in my head, and I was thinking if I should speak while I'm doing this. And now you hear me talking, because I thought, okay, let's go ahead with it. Right now, I can feel my hands gripping the pen very tightly, and I'm gonna try to loosen up, because I liked the first strokes that I did, but to continue, you see it's getting jagged. It takes some kind of practice. Ooh, see? So it started very nice. I wish this 1, 2, 3 going down there is good. Here I started losing it, and it's okay. I'm gonna try something different, but maybe bigger like that. Okay. I have thought of speaking about what I just saw. I was watching a video on YouTube of Cal Newport talking about slow productivity, and his case study that he shared is about the singer named Jewel. And I was thinking, it's very interesting that creatives are getting studied, and become sort of, I don't know if it's the right term, but like a role model. In the case study it was presenting, the way that he talked about it, the Jewel named singer, that's interesting. The singer named Jewel is an example. I can say a role model. Anyway, it kind of inspired me to go ahead with this and just do it, because I had a couple of things that I could do today on a Sunday morning, and that's the whole idea of the kind of work that I would do on a Sunday, something like slow, fresh from resting the day before. And I spoke with a colleague, someone I worked with before, and respect for her craft and dedication. She seemed kind of surprised that I work on Sunday. Or we were chatting, and then she said, "Oh, you work on Sunday on a weekend?" I said, "Yes." And then I wanted to, I don't know, it made me think, and in my head I was thinking like, yeah, I mean, I do art, like this what I'm doing now, because I'm a professional artist and designer, so this is the kind of work that I do. It doesn't feel like work exactly, because, you know, as a professional you get paid basically for what you do, and this is something I like to do, so it's not like hard grueling work that I do. And so on a Sunday, something like this or anything related to art and design that I do, whether for play or something serious, but yes, it's kind of work mode for me. And what I'm doing here is, it's like spontaneous speaking. You know, there's spontaneous writing, and to me, everything is a language, sort of. Like when you design, I talked about design language in 2021. I was trying to explain, making analogies and sharing my thoughts when I was hired as a senior UI and UX designer, and trying to explain to the team while I was helping them. I was helping in a critical project that was outsourced to an external web development company, and then I was trying to explain why I think this and that, and so I would make write-ups, and I talked about design language then. And this is a kind of a design language, so it's a whole topic that I have in my head, and I've been thinking about this. I've seen other terms used about it, and I will have to look up, like, what was that term again that somebody used? I think it's Proco, who interviewed an artist who talked about it, and it's in this same, it's the same idea, where I would liken it to spontaneous writing. And okay, what do we do here? Something messy or boxy? What shall we do? Maybe let's do something quite messy. The whole idea is to I didn't move this so much until now. There we go. Do I want to make another one? Let me think. So the whole idea is to actually lay something down on the paper and then go with it. like let it flow. I'm still deliberating if I should continue, because I'm on a, like, I'm thinking now, and it feels like to end it abruptly wouldn't be such a good experience for the viewers, for you. Okay. I'm gonna try a different one, a pen. This is another, it's a brush pen. Where did I put them? I can't find the lid. Where did I put it? Oh no. So this is a parallel pen, for those not familiar, by Pilot. I have another one which is 6.0 millimeters. This is 3.8. Okay, so now I'm gonna try my brush pen. I was talking about design language, and where's the frame? Okay, the whole pad is the end of one page and the other end of the one page. I'm framing based on what is seen here on the video. Okay. This is my kind of slow TV. Okay, I'm trying to plot where the end is of the frame. Right to here to there. Doing it manually, ladies and gentlemen. Literally looking at the phone screen and then seeing where I'm marking it. Okay, there it is. That's where it is. Oop. Okay, so what do I mean by, now it becomes part of piece. What do I mean by design language? It's like having your own way of expressing using design elements. And if you look at classical art, there is really design in every art, in paintings, and it's from the book called Classical Drawing. I should bring it out from the boxes. And so this is like, I'm not thinking so much. It's like spontaneous writing. You just say what's on your mind. And I had conversations with my friend who she graduated as a programmer, and I told her about Beeple, because that time when we were talking, I think he already achieved that his work is sold for millions. How much was it? Like millions during the cryptocurrency boom. And I brought him up, we were talking about something, and then she has her own comments about, oh, this must be why. And so she, what do you call it? She makes her own hypotheses why he's successful. And I told him, I told her, no, that's not why. So I think this is like, I've read or heard that in investing you want to get the inside information of people, let's say Wall Street, or inside information to know what you're about, where to invest. So this is like I was giving her an inside information about what is it really about people that make him respected, or what contributed to his success. So I told him what Beeple is, I told her what Beeple is famous for is because he consistently created artworks every day. And his story is that even during the birth of his child, he still didn't fail publishing an artwork, like working on an artwork. So every day for many years, how many years has it been? He's been doing that. And so when the cryptocurrency, there was a boom in cryptocurrency, he put digital art on the map. I think I would say that's thanks to him. Digital art is not a small thing. Like, he could earn millions, and the value of digital art is, how do you say it? It's thanks to him that people now see. I think people have been seeing it. It's just for digital art to sell at that price, it used to be an underdog. People look down on it, and I know there are different opinions, and it's not the same as what traditional painting has already established in the art collector space to cost millions of dollars. And when people earned that amount of money for the work he has been doing consistently for many years, that nobody has really pulled off that kind of consistency, and it's amazing. And so I was explaining to my friend that no, it's not because of, not even the art or the I don't know if it's not the quality of art, it's not the subject matter, it's what he is respected for is his consistency. And because he has been consistent, he has developed a speed that is, it's amazing how fast he works. And so I was explaining that to her while she would share, trying to figure out what is it that makes his work successful. So I was telling her it's not entirely that. I think of course it's subjective when people like his artwork or not, but even if, for example, if I know a friend I know from a friend how she feels about his work, because there's weirdness to it, and it's not the type of artwork that I would consume or try to make. So when I heard my friend's reaction, my artist friend's reaction, like, same here, but still you respect him for what he was able to achieve. And I say thanks to him, it put digital art up on that, to share with the how do you say it? Now it's not gonna be looked down upon as a medium, digital art, because in the art collector space you can see that it has gained, is it traction? What do you say? How do you say it? And I was gonna, my own experience with digital art, dealing with people who aren't exactly, who aren't artists. I spoke with someone who, I say speak or spoke, they trying to make a nice circle. I went to an event, like a gathering, and I showed my work. That time I just finished a portrait of a friend's grandfather, and then I was showing it there, like it's on a table, for example. There are a few people in the table with you, and then you're chatting up, oh, what do you do? Or I don't know really what was asked, but I show them, oh, I just finished a portrait, and this is my work on Instagram. And then let's make sure the focus is on the paper. I wish there was a way to lock focus on iPhone. I'm using iPhone. Anyway, so it's a couple, like they were in the table on with me in the table, and so I showed her my works on Instagram, and then she liked it, and she talked to her husband, and then she said, oh, I want this also, like a family portrait. She wanted a family portrait. And then I can see that the husband wasn't really all in on it, and he would only agree for her wife. And then I explained to her, to them, what I used, and it was a digital painting portrait. And then I would explain to him. He was asking me, like, oh, how do you do it? Do you use it with your hand? He was making like motions with his hand. Yes, that's what I do. And I would explain to him, I use a graphics pen and tablet, like Wacom. I think that time Apple still hasn't released, I don't think that time Apple has released Apple Pencil and for the iPad. So I would explain to him my tools, what I use, and that was a sample work that I showed to the wife, what I just finished. And I think I was also happy and excited to show it because it's something that I've recently finished creating, painting for my friend. And so she wanted, and then the husband and I were talking about specifics, like, okay, how big is it gonna be, how much, and then, long story short, after they paid the down payment, I asked a friend, is this how you price it and stuff like that, because my background is in creating commercial art for games, and so charging for a portrait, the one that I did for a friend, it was a gift, so it's something that I wanted to do for my friend, and it was a gift. So I asked my friends, my colleagues, artist friends, and then, so long story short, after weeks of working on it, they already gave a down payment, and then we agreed on the size, and I was working on it on a computer, and one time I brought my computer to the same community. I worked on it, and some of the kids, I was volunteering, helping with the kids, and then, so that time, one day, I brought my computer, and I was working at the cafe or restaurant in that place in the community, and that's where the couple goes. That's where we met, like the event. And I would already see them around coming, and then so the kids saw that I was working on the portrait, the family portrait, and they know them, different kids, not the kids of the couple, but the couple as kids, and so they play with them, they know the family, and they were making comments, they can recognize them, and then one of them, I think after that time that one of the kids who saw me painting on their portrait, talked to them after that time that they saw me painting their portrait. So they talked about, they mentioned it, and then next thing you know, the husband was coming to me, and like he wasn't happy, like he wanted to see my studio, like I wasn't gonna say yes right away because I was working on my laptop, my computer, and then to invite him to my place, which is my studio, like a home studio. That wasn't like something that I would easily say yes to. Like the default would be like no. I was thinking how to respond to it. Anyway, like he was kind of demanding. He wanted to see the studio, and he had an issue, I think. Maybe because he heard, oh, I was working on it on a laptop, and then I was explaining to him, his question was, do you work with your hands? Like, yes, I have a what's the term, like a pen and tablet. So yes, I work with my hands, and he would make the motion, and yes, that's how I do it. And so, how do we do this? It's getting organic. Long story short, he wasn't pleased to hear, to know, even though I explained it countless times, and I was wondering about the whole incident even then. Like, I've explained to them many times, and then I realized it's a lack of awareness, and it's just out of ignorance. And I've been doing it for years, working on projects that, like video game projects, games that are Game of the Year, then like Last of Us and Uncharted. And of course, I realized that outside that world, it's not known, and based on the reactions of that, the husband and these people, I realized, wow, there's still a part of the world that are so uninformed about this type of medium. Maybe to him it's like unheard of. So to him, digital art has like no value. I could feel from speaking with him that it's not, he didn't like it. He wanted the traditional artwork, the traditional painting, and it's not like he was, I mean, the payment, I'm not gonna go there anyway. Yeah, so that's, there's a history and experience there. Oh, I see, I ignored this one. I made this one as a marker for the frame, and so I see now that went over outside the frame. It's okay. What am I making here? I think I'm gonna try another pen, a different pen. Okay, let us transition. Not so drastically. Charity. So these are just shapes. I'm being spontaneous with it. Anyway, so that little anecdote, it didn't go well. It wasn't a really a good experience, but it's something, it's a learning experience for me. and I'm sure also for them, that they became adamant and then demanded their money back after I've done already the work. It wasn't finished, but I was like way in the middle, and so they wanted the money back, etc., etc. I showed them the progress, and the criticism that I got from the work that I was already doing was that, is this painting like it was photorealistic? And then to me that was actually a positive a positive feedback. They thought that I did some kind of Photoshop trick with it, like maybe Photoshop effect, that I didn't paint it. That's what they were, it was more like accusing, not speculating. They were accusing me that it was a husband, and they weren't happy with the idea that I was working on it in the computer. So he didn't like digital art, and he didn't have, so even if many times I explained to him what I do, what I use, it's not registering to him for some reason. Like I was explaining to him, I have a graphic pen and tablet. Maybe I was explaining to him like the software, I was working with colors, yes, but it's not registering to him. I think there has to be a demo. So in a way, it's probably a good idea to show him what I do. Like he was asking to come to the studio, although that specific ask, I would have to think about it. But yeah, it's out of ignorance and not being familiar with it. So they, of course, people are not familiar with it, wouldn't really understand the value of it. For example, people who collect cards, like baseball cards, for example, they know that as a collector's item, there is a value in that you could make money with it. But for someone not familiar in that world, in that space, like it's just a piece of cardboard or a piece of paper with a picture of someone maybe known in the baseball, for example, or basketball. But you won't be able to sell them cards. I don't think so, unless their wife knows or collects things like that. They don't necessarily share the same, what's it called, sentiments or view on the value of such things. So, and especially if they're the ones shelling out the money to make the wife happy. So yeah, it's not it's funny that I'm talking about this now in a recent experience, not in the digital art. It's also a couple who, it was the wife who was interested in hiring me, but the husband, I would ask him, okay, why did you want to hire me? And I was asking those questions, and I was asking like the desired future state, like if we work together or why, things like that I was asking. And then he finally said, of course, certainly it's because of the influence of the wife, because I could sense in our conversation that when he speaks, he's not really sold to the idea of hiring people from, for example, where I came from. So like almost like he was making a debate or making a case about hiring people from where I came from. Or yeah, so so I could sense that in our conversations. Anyway, I think I'm gonna stop talking so much here. Okay, you can see that I'm being careful with it. Like, okay, I think I made a really nice shape of a sphere, and now I care about it. Like, first I wasn't making, like, see there, it's, now I wanted to talk about the illusion that is made for light and dark to make different kinds of values. You can see that from this brush pen, it's not really making very, very light ones. It's like how you control the pen, and then how you kind of trick it to make, by making things darker. If you can't do it very light, to make a contrast, make the rest of it dark. It's to compensate the limits of, to create the illusion of lightness. When things are dark, you just increase the contrast. Ta-da! I made a sphere. Maybe I'll try to do that again. Let's see if I could make a bigger one here. Drawing is a core skill for an artist. There are different kinds of art that an artist can make. One of them is drawing. But for me, drawing is a core skill because you can relate it with sculpting, and that's exactly what if you consume, if you read books, try to learn how to draw, they tell you about, okay, you make basic shapes and then it's like sculpting the rest of it. So, okay, now we're making a bigger sphere. Either we make it as good as what we did here or better. Let's see. The size can make a difference. See, now I'm not doing like straight, but I am trying to follow what would be the shape of the sphere. And it's trying to control. The challenge is, how do you make a circular negative space? The negative space is like oopsie. So with brush pen, you can't erase anymore. So it's not a perfect negative shaped circle. The specularity of this sphere is, how do you say, like, is smaller white circle than this one. It means is it shinier? Yes, it would be shinier if you have small. In 3D, it's specular settings, like if you adjust it, how shiny is it, and then you'll see when you use the 3D software the difference. It makes a smaller white circle, which is what I call negative space here, and you'll be able to relate that in design, graphic design or visual design. Okay, so here, see, I wish, because it's not in the center and it's not on the toppest. It's like, if it's a box, it's over here. You see, it's not in the center. It's north, south, east, northeast. And so if I do this exactly from the center, it's not really accurate. So I wanted it to be over here, but I've already colored, like put an ink on it, so it's darker. What do we do? That's where the illusion comes from. Okay, now that you've put a shade on it where you ideally would not have had done it, so I make this darker to push the light here, so to speak. So here I'm making things darker, and I'm gonna try to move, sort of manipulate it to make this lighter this way and this a little bit darker, so that it's southwest to match the northeast, where the light is strongest, the negative space. Okay, was successful? I think so. No, it's not dead center, but I wish there was like a little bit of light there, but Now we make things, increase the contrast and make things a little bit darker. Where would dark and light meet? Maybe over here. I like the flexibility of a brush pen. Ink is an unforgiving medium, but I fell in love with the brush pen because I know that the ink is unforgiving, but the brush pen gives me a certain kind of flexibility. So we're shaping things here. See, what I love about it is the effect is like, it's as if you made it with pencil or charcoal. Because of the flexibility, I'm able to build up in it. How does that look? I think this is too light. What I really love about brush pen, it allows you to make hairline strokes. Thin, very thin, and then you can easily make a thick line with it. Ooh, okay, so I'm happy with the spheres that I made here and there. I think I'm gonna stop there. Should I? I'm gonna take a break.